Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Chiro HD, Softwave, Cool Blue VA, Bridge Financial, 100% Chiropractic, Chiro Health USA, ChiroScript AI, Chiro Moguls, the Chiro Speaking Company, New Patients in a Box, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, and the IFCO. You can benefit from a full list of sponsors by visiting our sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 650 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Ian Hoffman. And if you want to hear our conversation about the student loan eraser, stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Today I have Ian Hoffman coming in from Cali. And I produce here in Colorado. And I just want to let you guys know the big why before we get into episode 650, which I believe is an awesome milestone for our show, hitting 650 episodes. I don't know why, but we're on the march to 1,000. And we're well over halfway there. And this episode is very significant to me just because anytime you hit these milestones of the 50 or the 100, it just matters more as a producer. So thank you everybody out there that supports the Chiro Hustle podcast, all of our sponsors, all of our viewers, the colleges, the students, and everybody that needs the truth of chiropractic. And now we'll get into our big why. And then we'll introduce Dr. Ian. We'll talk about his program, the Student Loan Eraser. Hopefully we can inspire some docs that are feeling burnt out and supporting the best profession in the world, which is chiropractic. And hopefully we can steer some future chiropractors or people that are on the cusp of wanting to become chiropractors from their hesitation because of the financial constraints based on the information that we share today. Our big why do we do what we do? Well, freedom of speech. We believe that that is the most important thing with journalism. In my background in journalism, that's why I do this, because I want to make sure that people have access to the truth of chiropractic. And we know what it's like to be censored, shadow banned, traffic throttled, and whatever the other dumb things that people do to people that talk about the truth, and especially about the truth of healthcare. So that segues me to my second part is we believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. If you guys want to find that and you're listening to this, find a neighborhood chiropractor. They're going to steer you and your family in the right path for medical freedom and family health freedom. I guarantee you. Then we get into a philosophical standard of why we do this, and that is protecting the sacred trust. If you don't know what that is, go to our show notes and check out our show notes section, which talks about BJ Palmer's last words and the sacred trust. You're going to fall in love with chiropractic deeper than you ever have before, and then you'll know why we do this program the way that we do. And then this is for all the students out there. Please share this show. Share this with the future chiropractors, because this is the only place that they're getting real deal conversations about subluxation-centered chiropractic and innate intelligence and universal intelligence. So if they're taking this out of your schools, share this show with a student or somebody that's graduating soon so they start understanding what they got themselves into. And then we'll talk with Dr. Ian about how to help them with the loans. And we do believe that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual. And with that, this is episode 650. Welcome to the show, Dr. Ian Hoffman.
Thank you so much, James. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, man, I feel like I have to cook so hard at the beginning of these episodes so people understand that there is a significant thing that we do here. They might not ever listen to another episode of what we do, so they have to catch the heat every episode. And that's why we turn it on the way that I do. And I felt like over the past 4 years, there just wasn't enough fundamental truth out there. And people sidestep people for personality reasons or for clout reasons. And I was like, nope, straight ahead. You're either with me or you're you're not. And I feel like we've stayed in our lane, but I believe that we've inspired a lot of people. I know that's what we hope to do today on this episode with the Student Loan Eraser. But before we get into that, how did you get into chiropractic? I know you were off camera telling me that you're second generation.
I am second generation. There's a lot of chiropractors in the Hoffman family and extended family. My dad and both of his brothers are chiropractors, so I grew up with it. I'm one of the lucky ones that way. As a kid, I was competing nationally in gymnastics for a time. I really just grew up with chiropractic as my only form of healthcare, and so it was a natural choice for me.
So two uncles and a dad that's a chiropractor for sure.
Yeah.
How did they mentor you into becoming who you are today?
Oh, wow. That's such a deep question. My dad is my hero, hands down. I grew up, like, we would go on family vacations and he would donate his time, and just there would be lines of people on like a little island in the Caribbean waiting to see my dad. That there's no chiropractor on this island. They had no idea. And year after year, my dad would donate time and take care of people for the love of taking care of people. And that really is something that is near and dear to my heart. He's just a solid human that way. My uncle, my dad's brothers, both uncles, are massive representations of leaders in the chiropractic community, and I look up to all of them.
Well, I think that it was important for us to start with that segment just because of the family ties to this profession. And then I think that it's really important for us to talk about your initiative with Student Loan Eraser, because you understand the fundamentals and the depth of the profession because you grew up as a chiro kid, but now you see the troubles ahead. And I think that anybody that has two eyes that look forward with two toes that point, or 2 feet that point forward, would know that the direction that we're going is unsustainable. And we need to talk more about solutions rather than problems. So I know that you've come up with an amazing solution for chiropractors to start their own non-for-profits that supports not only themselves, but their communities, but also helps them, as you say, erase the student loan debt.
Yeah, that's right. Just to give a little backstory, we talked about this a little off camera as well, but I was 3 years into practice. I graduated from Life West in 2010, and my son was born that year, 2013. And just a couple weeks after my son was born, I had a pregnant mom come into my office as a new patient, and she brought her 4-year-old daughter to the appointment. And this little girl was as bald as me. At 4 years old, she had a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. And so, man, I had never been more grateful in my life. No parent or child should have to go through that. It was one of the most emotional experiences in practice, my whole life. And I went home that night. I kissed my newborn son on the forehead. I just expressed gratitude to the powers that be that he was healthy. And I just made a decision. I didn't want finances to get in the way of this family getting the care that they needed. They were under such physical, chemical, emotional stress. And I just wanted to help. So that little girl, actually, and the experience with her and her family inspired me to start a nonprofit branch of my practice at that time. And I knew nothing about student loans. Shortly after that, I went to try to qualify for my first mortgage, was told income was okay, but debt to income ratio was messed up because of the student loans. So that set me on a path to really try to figure that out. And I read online about this federal program called Public Service Loan Forgiveness. And it turns out there are only 3 requirements, but the major requirement is that you need to be working for the government or a nonprofit. And there's this just big eureka moment where I had reverse engineered my own requirement to qualify by starting my own nonprofit. So, I wound up helping a few friends through the process. And then the Student Loan Eraser program was born. We've now started over 600 nonprofits, and docs are going to save well over $150 million on their student loans. It's unreal.
And I know we have something you were talking about earlier. You're asking me like, who is our audience? Well, we have a global audience too. So there's people that are watching us from Mexico. There's people we have Chiro Hustle Espanol, which is a show that we only interview people in Spanish, and we have a Spanish speaking anchor from Mexico City, and we produce content for only Spanish speaking people. And I think that what you're saying here really matters, but is the student loan forgiveness program only for people practicing in the US?
You don't necessarily have to be practicing in the US. I've had a few international clients, but they have to be federal student loans. They have to come from a school in the US.
Got you. So I guess you said you've had about 600 people that have gone through your program. What's your North Star? How many people are you looking to serve?
I mean, at this point, I would love to eventually reach $500 million in loan forgiveness for my clients, and it's kind of like how I felt in practice. I don't have a specific number goal. To me, it's more is better, as far as that's concerned. The more people that I help to get out of their student loan debt and help their community and expand access to care for people in need, it just serves this bigger purpose of, helping chiropractors to be more generous, because they don't have there's just this big heavy weight and this burden of multiple six figures of debt on their back.
So you've actually seen people go through A through Z of your whole project with the student loan forgiveness, and this is actually like a functional system that people are plugging into, and you're seeing that it's actually people are graduating out of the student loan forgiveness project and they're walking away debt free.
I had a chiropractor in December send me her final paperwork. She had a little over $280,000 of debt, completely forgiven. No tax bill. Just, she's done.
That is profound. I know we have a lot of things to discuss today, but let's go ahead and pre-close people into your website, that if people are curious about joining because I know that I typically ask this question at the end of the episodes, but I think that it's so important that people get access to your website. Where do we send people to that are listening and that will listen to this just from right now? We'll talk more, but where do we send people to?
I really appreciate that. It's really simple. I have a 30-minute free presentation. You go to www.erasemystudentloans.com. You'll register. You'll be able to watch the presentation just right on demand. And that will also give you an opportunity where you'll get a couple of emails with a link to schedule a call with me. And at the end of the presentation, you'll be able to just scroll down on the page and set up a free call. I'll answer any questions you have about your student loans, make sure the program will be a good fit, and would love to talk to you.
So I'm sure people are like, all right, I'm interested. I'm going to schedule my call with Dr. Ian. What does it look like from like that initial 30-minute video and scheduling their call with you to actually getting this off the ground and them actually plugging it in and starting to move forward?
Yeah. Well, the web class that I have, the presentation, that covers, the two main types of student loan forgiveness and the major differences. There's a lot of companies out there that say they'll help you qualify for student loan forgiveness. All they do is enroll you on an income-driven repayment plan. The problem is most people on those plans, they don't realize that they have you make up to 25 years of payments. A lot of times the payment is less than the interest. And so the debt never actually goes down, or it grows over time. And then at the end of all of that, then any forgiven debt is going to be taxed as if you earned the income. And that's the one biggest thing I want people to realize from these income-driven repayment plans. A lot of people have no clue to expect for, plan for, save for this giant, which could be a six-figure tax bill after 25 years of payments. So the difference between that and public service loan forgiveness is PSLF keeps you on an income-driven plan with a really low payment, but your debt is erased 15 years faster and tax-free, right? So that's why my average client is saving about $250,000 with this process. So the webinar goes through much more detail on the 2 types of loan forgiveness, the 3 requirements to qualify for public service loan forgiveness, everything that's included in the student loan eraser program. And then by the time they get on a call with me, most people have really specific questions about their situation. How do we apply this? What would my mission statement be? Who can I serve? Really curious about how we make this work for them. So we answer those questions. At the end of the call, they're either ready to get started. I'll help them get started right away, or I can send an email with everything that's included, the links to join. Program comes with a money back guarantee to make it really easy. As soon as they join, the process itself takes about 60 to 90 days. Most people are able to have their first month count towards public service loan forgiveness within about 90 days of starting the process.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Chiro HD, Softwave, Cool Blue VA, Bridge Financial, 100% Chiropractic, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, the Chiro Speaking Company, New Patients in a Box, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, and the IFCO. You can benefit from a full list of sponsors by visiting our sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle. And how much of a heavy lift is this for the people that are going to go and click on all these links? Because I know that that's probably what's churning in everybody's brain, like it is for mine, like saying, hey, so I'm in, I clicked on the links, I did the thing. Like, what is the lift? You talk about these 3 things or 2 types, like just explain that to people so they know what they're getting into.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to. I'll kind of explain everything that's included in the student loan eraser program when somebody joins.
Well, it's going to be valuable for first timers that might not ever click on that link that listen to this.
Yeah, I agree. So most of the program is done for you. So most people say it only takes about an hour a week to watch the videos, take the action steps, and complete the process. But when someone joins the student loan eraser, the first thing they get is lifetime access to the membership site. And that's where I break the entire process down into 8 bite-sized modules. And most modules have 1 or 2 videos that are around 5 minutes. So module 1 is a custom student loan plan. That's where we look over what type of loans you have, what repayment plan you're on. We'll make sure that you meet the first 2 requirements for public service loan forgiveness. There are 4 different types of federal student loans. They're called direct, FFEL, Stafford, and Perkins loans. It's only direct loans that qualify. But the cool thing is there's a free process called direct consolidation. So if you have any of the other types of loans, we can turn them into direct loans for free and make them eligible. So we look and see if that's necessary as part of step 1.
That's huge.
We also look at what repayment plan you're on, because we want to get you the lowest possible monthly payment to maximize savings and cash flow for the rest of the process. So all of that is included in step 1 with the custom student loan plan.
Why aren't all major colleges just funneling to you?
Please tell them that that's exactly what they should be doing. I mean, I don't know, to be honest with you. I think all students need to know this, that it's an option. I think that there's a lot of people who we hear it all the time, right? That colleges train people to be chiropractors, ideally, but they don't necessarily train them to be business owners, right? And this program involves starting a business, which is a nonprofit. But it's everything that you need to do it is here within the program to make it easy. So I don't see any reason not to.
Yeah, those are, I mean, and then my curiosity gets the best of me, and I'm like, well, does this work for people that aren't chiropractors that have wanted to work with you and to do this type of a system for their student loans that aren't in the chiropractic space?
It does, actually. I've worked with naturopathic doctors, dentists, acupuncturists. I actually just did a big webinar for a company called FullScript, and they have nurse practitioners on their email list. They have, lots of healthcare providers all over the country, even outside of chiropractic. So it works across. I've even had a few lawyers go through the program.
Awesome. This is such a valuable resource for people that are out there in the higher education world that might be in their 40s even, that are looking at it and their principal's never moved and they just been making interest only payments and they feel like they have a weight around their neck and they're underwater and they want to have families and they're not starting families because of their debt. They want to have a better quality of life and they can't do that because of their debt. And I think that we all have the conversations by the water coolers and we all have those conversations about, how to have a better quality of life. And obviously people talk about eating better and working out, but nobody ever talks about financial strength and financial health. These are conversations that they don't have around the water cooler. They talk about where they're going on vacation or how their kids are performing in school, but they're not talking about how to transform your life by saving money from your education and going on the path and a journey to walk away with your debt forgiven by doing community service in a 501c3 model.
You got it. The best thing is, one of the things I love the most about the chiropractic profession is almost always the docs I talk to are already doing 99% of what it takes to qualify for this program. If you've ever given a discount to someone with a financial hardship, you've provided a public service. You're expanding access to the miracle of chiropractic care for someone in need. If you have a lower fee for military or kids or people with no insurance or anything like that, you're already doing what it takes to qualify for this. That's the irony. The difference is that you're just not doing it through a nonprofit. And as soon as you start the nonprofit to serve those people that you're already serving, and then the nonprofit pays you a small salary, now you meet that third requirement for public service loan forgiveness by doing what you're already doing.
Well, we need to start linking you up with big organizations that help financially curb the cost for the actual patient, because those are the docs that would probably be interested in doing this process with you. One of our long-term sponsors is called Chiro Health USA.
Yeah.
I think they would be a great connection for what you're doing because they have a database of docs that are doing this type of discount service to patients.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sure those docs that are inside of that network would love to know how to provide that service that they're doing and be able to save themselves on their student loans long term. So there's so many different alliances I think that are out there that are just waiting for you. They just don't know how to work with you or how the process works. So I'm glad that you're being super transparent on how people can link up and work with you. Once again, guys, it's www.erasemystudentloans.com. And one of the things that we were talking about off camera was how to inspire burnt out chiropractors. What would your message be to them with your program?
Yeah, that's a great question. I hate to make it's not all financial, right? The thing is, I went to Life West and they talk about lasting purpose, to give, to love, to serve from abundance. It's really hard to have that abundance mindset when we're crushed with debt, right? And so I think that the way to get out of all of that is really to give, is to, the president for a long time of Life University, Dr. Sid Williams, said we have two hands, right? We have our business hand, and that's there for us to put food on the table and feed our families and have a great quality of life. And we have our practice hand, and our practice hand is for us to serve our community and to love on our patients and to give. And I think that that's the embodiment of this for-profit and nonprofit model that we're now creating, where you still have a for-profit, which is there for you to earn a living and put food on the table. And you also have a nonprofit, which is there for you to serve people in need and give back and enter into this really great situation where you get to release yourself from this giant, sometimes multiple six-figure student loan burden at the same time. I know that it lightened my load considerably. And from a lot of the docs I've worked with and talked to, it really just, the miracles of really just showing up and helping people, and knowing that the student loan forgiveness is going to be there and the financial rewards will be there, but really serving your community that way, it opens up all sorts of potentials that I didn't even think about or consider when I first started down this path.
Well, just to shore up some of this, I'm sure you've mentioned it, but what's the timeline for somebody to actually see the student loan being forgiven? How long of community service are people actually signing up for?
Yeah, good question. It is a commitment, right? So most people are on a 25-year income-driven repayment plan. At the end of that 25 years, the forgiven debt is taxed. Public service loan forgiveness cuts that down from 25 to 10 years. So it is a 10-year commitment. And at that point, everything is erased tax-free.
That is quite amazing. And for the future chiros, people that might be hesitant because of the cumbersome loan amounts, what's your message to them?
My message to them is that, anything worthwhile often requires a leap of faith, number one. And number two, get educated. There are programs like this out there that, can help you financially. So go through the program, be the best possible chiropractor you can be. Ideally, you earn a ton of money and there's no burden. And if you need help is out there.
So let's go through a speed round towards the end of our show here. We got about 6 more minutes. What's the best way in 2024 to build your practice?
Online. Simple as that. You need to have an online presence these days. So having a really good website, having Google and Yelp reviews, and really having an inside out kind of marketing system where you really take care of your patients. They see that, they feel that, and they tell their friends and community.
Great answer. Chiropractic 2024, where are we in 2044?
I saw this question. I love this question. There's only 3 options, right? It's either we grow, we shrink, or we stay the same. And no one has a crystal ball, right? I don't know where we're going to be, but I really hope that collectively we break out of this limiting mindset, this poverty consciousness, this whatever it is that's holding us back from our true potential. I really hope that we grow as a community, and that instead of fighting each other, we really come together to understand that we have something very special to offer. And if we can do that, I think we'll grow massively over the next 20 years.
Well, I just want to let people know that the reason I see the challenge is because of debt to income ratio. And the reason that we have chiropractors not being able to make it with this awesome degree is because they fall short of being able to have a quality of life and take care of the bills that they have by the model that we've born them into. So we have to do better as a financial standardization to tell people that they can still make it, but we have to give them a new game to play in. And I think that that's going to be the thing that takes us more mainstream and more massive, is when people that are in their 50s don't have the same debt that they graduated with at 27. And I think that that's a huge solution for us. And so many people want to talk about like the things that make them happy. I think it's really important for us to talk about solutions that might not make everyone happy, but gives people the runway to a future, rather than seeing, just like you said, the idea of poverty consciousness. Well, chiropractic is an abundant profession. And if we could just cut the shackles of the debt idea, like the ideology of the debt, and the golden handcuffs with the practitioner. Say you do this for 10 years, you're debt free. Now you can go start that chiropractic satellite office that you wanted to, and you don't have the student loan debt. Now you can hire 5 associates and start them out on their journeys and teach them your ways, and then they won't have debt in the next 10 years. Now we can create a better future and really BJ Palmer's utopia, where everybody gets chiropractic and we're not losing chiropractors, and they are becoming more successful because, as we see now, the curve of success has not grown in the past 40 years. We still have 60,000 practicing chiropractors, where most of them are part-time status. So when we think about this profession, this is a massive solution to people. And I think it is going to be something that they'll listen to and learn from, and knowing that there is a solution for them from their hesitation not becoming a chiropractor because of the default rates, and for chiropractors that might be burnt out, giving them solutions to know that they can sign up for this, implement it, and their runway is 10 years to where they don't have the same golden handcuffs, and they can have some prosperity and start building for the future today, rather than saying, hey, I can never have a family, I can never pay off this debt. These types of ideas that I feel like is the reason why we have not seen a trajectory of power and influence and domination with chiropractic. It's because the school's gotten built with the student loans, and they never gave a solution to these kids how to make it out alive. And a lot of these kids die in the front lines of chiropractic practice because no one ever told them what you guys are doing over there at erasemystudentloans.com.
Well said. Thank you, James. Appreciate that.
Well, we are at the edge of our time together. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wanted to share with our audience today?
Good question. I mean, we covered a lot of it. The only thing I want to share is that, there's always hope, no matter how deep you are into that feeling of being overwhelmed in practice, or burnt out, or not sure if you want to get into the profession or anything else. There's a great online business coach, marketing coach, mostly for women. Her name is Marie Forleo, but I love her quote. She says, everything is figure outable. And I personally have overcome a lot of obstacles in my life to be here today. I'm sure most of us can say the same. And the one thing I want most people to hold on to is that there is always hope, always information out there. So, never give up. You're on the right path.
erasemystudentloans.com. Dr. Ian Hoffman, thank you for being episode 650 of the Chiro Hustle podcast.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it.
I had a lot of fun. Hopefully everybody gets this as a resource. And if you have a chiropractic student in your life, or if you're a part of a chiropractic organization, or you have any ties to higher education, please share this, because the philosophy runs deep, and it runs deeper when chiropractors are successful. And with that, I'll close out by telling you all, you're just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.